Hello friends, this is your instructor Prasanjit here. In the last video, we had seen about classes and objects. In this video, we will learn about constructors. There are four types of constructors. One is default constructor. Second is parameterized constructor. Third is named constructor. Then the fourth one is constant constructor. What is a constructor? These are like functions that have the name of the class. These are called when we create objects of our classes. So for example, first we'll see the default constructor. See for this line, in this line the student we have written it as a function. So here we call the default constructor of the class student. So this line means that there is the Java Dart will understand that there is a constructor like this, just empty. There is nothing, no lines of code inside that. So we can write some lines of code inside our default constructor, like we can write print this is a student. Let's run. What happens? See, first the line this is a student is getting printed. This means that when this we are creating the object of this class, this default constructor is called, inside which we have the print this is a student. So this is getting printed first. So this is the default constructor. Then it comes to parameterized constructor. So as the name suggests, this constructor takes in some parameters. For example, we can write student int id string name. Then can write roll equal to id. And as we know, to refer to the class variables, we use this keyword. Done. So here we can pass in some ID. Let's take 29. Then some name, for example Sam. We don't need to again call the attributes here with the object name. Let's see what happens. See, the constructor is called here. The value 29 is passed to the ID variable, which is then assigned to the role variable. Then the name, that is Sam, is getting passed here over here, the name variable. Then it passes it to the class variable, that is name, and here it is getting printed in this function. Student one dot role, student one dot name, then the functions. Another thing, we cannot have both the parameter constructor and default constructor in the same class. That is, if we create another constructor like student print this is default constructor, this will show us an error. See, the default constructor is already defined. As we have already defined a constructor, we cannot write another default constructor here. Then the third comes named constructor. Named constructor is written like this, with the class name, then dot our constructor name, like for example my constructor. Then we can pass in some values like id, then string name. Then can assign these values to our variables. Done. See, we can have a parameterized constructor and a named constructor, but we cannot have a parameterized constructor and a default constructor in the same class. So how can we call this? We can call this by using this dot our class name, then dot the our constructor name. So we given the print statement over here. Done. Then run. See, the values are getting assigned. Then this print statement is executed. This is name constructor. Then the other statements over here, they are getting executed. So this is all about default constructor, parameterized constructor, and named constructor. The last one, that is constant constructor. Actually, there is no use of this constructor. When you start programming in Flutter, when some users come, then we'll learn about that. So next up, we are going to see about getters and setters. So there are two types of getters and setters. That is default getter setter and custom getters and setters. So first up, we are going to see about default getter and setter. So what is getter and setter? Getter, as the name suggests, gets some values, and setter sets the values. For example, here when we write student1 dot name equal to Prasanjit. So this is nothing but a setter. This is the default setter, as we have not exclusively defined any setter for this. So and here in the print statement, that is when we are typing student1.roll, the student1.roll is nothing but a getter. As we get the value of roll from student1.roll, that's why it is called getter. So when we run the code, we can see as we have changed the name here to Prasanjit, so my name is showing Prasanjit, then the functions are getting executed. Next up, we are going to see custom getters and setters. We can define our own getters and setters. For example, we create a getter and setter for percentage. Like this, we can create void percentage then void the getter will return the value, so double for example, we can calculate something like p by 600 into 100 double get percentage. Then inside this we'll just return percent, as we have set the value of value here in percent. 1 second. Oh, sorry. Getters don't have a parameter list. They are not a function. They are getters, so they don't need a double bracket. So here we can do this. Null check. That's it. So how we can call our custom getters and setters? We can simply call them by student1 dot percentage equal to, suppose we pass here 500. This is our custom setter. Then we can get it print student1 dot percentage. Okay, so let's see what is the result. Okay, 1 minute. Can just give some default values like level percent equal to 0.0. Okay, done. See, now we are getting 500 divided by 600 into 100. This is coming 83.333. So this is all about getters and setters. So with this we have completed the basics of Dart programming language. Now we can easily start making our own first Flutter app.